It's been a while since I made a video, a couple of months. I think the last time I made one, I was in Turkey. I'm now in Montenegro, in a place called Novi, which is a beautiful part of the world. I may layer some photographs over to give you a view of where I am. But of course, I'm not here to talk about my travel adventures as much as I do love talking about them. I'm here to provide an update with the wonderful world of long COVID recovery. The headline is, relatively speaking, I'm doing fantastic. Since getting back from Turkey, I have regularly been doing 10,000 steps a day. Last month, I worked more than I have worked since crashing in September 22, which was great, both kind of for a mental achievement and financial reasons as well. You know, the more work I can do, the more cash pennies that come in. And then I don't know how to word this really, because so I got reinfection. I'm pretty sure I did. I didn't test, which some people may disagree with, but I'm just not doing that game anymore. You know, I've spoken about the kind of psychological element of all of this in other videos. And of course, I isolated, I rested, I did all the respectful things. But for me, there was no benefit to seeing a positive test because there's nothing I could do. You know, I felt how I felt. It is how it is. It felt like COVID, just the fatigue was it wasn't like standard cold or flu fatigue. And as far as the acute infection went, it was pretty fine, really. It wasn't, you know, a lot of people worry about it. You know, I rested a lot and I was chilling. And I got back out pretty quickly doing 10,000, sometimes 15,000 steps a day, which was very reminiscent of the person I was prior to getting this chronic illness. And then the past few days has been an adjustment period. Now, if some of you aren't familiar with what that language means, an adjustment period is essentially where after a certain amount of pushing, symptoms start to flare, and we use the term adjustment period because we're telling ourselves that our body is getting used to this new output, needs to adjust. We do what we need to do, the meditation, the breath work, the brain retraining. And then we get through the adjustment period, and then we should have a new baseline of what we can do. It's a little bit disheartening because for the past 2 months, I felt like this was all over, I'll be honest. I'd wake up every day and I was like, oh God, that's over. And I started disconnecting from the idea of having ME, which I still don't believe I have, but, you know, the thought of, is this forever? Like, I started disconnecting from that idea, and it felt more just like a phase of life that was slowly becoming a thing of the past. So it is a bit disheartening to have these feelings, and what that looks like is mainly cognitive. Some dizziness, some tinnitus or tinnitus, depending on where you're watching. The whole sensitive here, lymph nodes. So trying to write something, I'm a writer, it's been impossible for the past week. I just look at the screen and I'm like, so I have to pull back. In terms of fatigue, though, yesterday and the day before were cognitively very difficult, but I still did 10,000, 12,000 steps. Now, a friend of mine who I spoke with reminded me the importance of pulling back, and that's really difficult for me because I love getting out there. You know, I'm an outdoors guy. I love being in nature. Obviously, I've been traveling for the past 5.5, almost 6 years. So I'm not a sit there and rest guy, and I know that that's something I'm having to learn, and I'm doing better. Like, Here's the thing, like yesterday, I just laid on the beach for 3 hours in the morning and in the afternoon. So 6 hours. Just laying and being a part of it. And that's difficult for me because I'm always like, let's do. If we're not doing, then we're not living. But I'm, teaching myself that resting is doing. It's just a different form of doing, and it's a very important doing. Even on days where I'm resting, I'm still doing a lot of steps. It's hard for me not to walk a lot. So, and especially now I can do it again. Where there was a point where I just physically couldn't do it. Now I can do it again. It's like, I want to do it more. It's very hard for me just to be on the sofa and rest and let my body heal. But I'm going to try, so a friend of mine told me about, pulling back on the physical stuff. And hopefully that'll help the cognitive stuff. But overall, this is a positive video because this time last year, I was in bed. I was bedbound. I couldn't get out of bed. I thought my life was over, to be honest. I've said it before, but, there was a point where I'd wake up and just wish I was dead. And that's hard for a person like me because I love life. I bloody love being alive. It's great. It's such a, I don't know if it's a good idea to turn the screen around to show you where I am. I'm going to do it. Look, this is where I am. How wonderful it is to be able to experience life and see things like that. So to have been in a state of mind where I'm word dumping here because this is the only real free flowing space I talk about this illness. To have been in a state of mind where I didn't want to live anymore. To a certain degree, I wasn't suicidal, but I was just so sick that I just be like, just take me, do it. This is it, whatever. So to be at a place now where I'm enjoying life and I'm out there and I'm walking and I'm meeting people. What a gift, right? What a gift to have the opportunity to do that again. And I need to remember that even though right now I'm sitting here with swollen lymph nodes, my throat's getting sore, and all that good stuff. I had a beautiful conversation with someone today, and one thing I'm doing when I'm slowing down, I've done a lot of somatic tracking. If you don't know what that is, Google somatic tracking, but the overview is you connect to your body, you identify what's going on in your body, but you don't give any judgment. So you may say something like, there's some tension in my head. But what you don't do is, you don't go, there's some tension in my head and that feels awful. You don't judge it, you just observe it, and that helps you accept it. It tells the brain that you're safe. So I do somatic tracking, but what I've been doing is I've been going a step further, especially recently, and I see the brain fog and all that stuff as surface level symptoms. Like, what's really going on? Because we all got the same virus, and there's people who have had the virus for a few days and they're back out. So why have some people been so greatly impacted by this? And I'm identifying a lot of pain, a lot of regret, a lot of shame. That's just been carried with me in my body, in my mind. And, as a dude, I'm not saying dudes shouldn't be looking at all this stuff, but we're not really taught to do that. We're not taught to really look within and see what's going on. We're just crack on, lad. And I was a crack on lad for years. I loved cracking on. But cracking on eventually caught up with me. So, yeah. I'm doing a lot of deep work at the moment, a lot of sitting. I had a good cry the other day, which is wild for me. Someone who just never cried, someone who didn't really show too much emotion, really. I sat and I bawled my eyes out. And guess what? I bloody loved it. It was great. I was like, can we do that again? So yeah, hey, if you're in the thick of this long COVID stuff and you're like, it's never going to get better, I'm going to be in bed for the rest of my life, let me tell you, I can't guarantee to you that you, the individual, will get better. But I can tell you that I was in that situation. I was in that situation where getting out of bed was a success. Walking down the street to get some groceries was a success. Now a bad day is doing around about 8,000 steps. So yeah, it does get better. And I'm so grateful that I can come out here. I can be independent. I can fund my travel again. I can see the world, but I have to go deeper. This is going to be a process. This is not a quick fix. I realize that now. And however long it takes, if this is my life's work, so I can pass it down to others, so be it. I hope it's not, because I just want to go hiking, to be honest. I met a girl today who goes hiking. She's got a great story, actually. And it just reminded me of, like, all the things I used to do. And I want to do them again. And I genuinely believe I'm going to do it. I 100% believe I will. I know there's going to be a day where this is a thing of the past. Because I've seen the progression that I've made. And whilst I'm in an adjustment period, whilst I can't look at a goddamn screen for more than 2 minutes without going, whoa, what the hell's going on? It will pass. And every hurdle is an opportunity to learn. So keep the faith. Know that it does improve. And if you're in a similar situation to me, I'd love to know how you're feeling, how you're managing. Comment, like, subscribe. I've got like 7 subscribers. Who cares if you subscribe or not? I hope someone sees this, and I hope if one person gets some inspiration that you can get through the dark days, despite it not being easy, then job's a good one. See ya.